Hello everyone, this is Colin once again. This is the second video that I'm refuting by the user by the name of Ahmed's Quran 3. This video is called the Sanya Manuscript Part 156a, and it is a video in which the person who's speaking claims that the Quranic manuscripts, and therefore the Quran that we have today, is not reliable because of variations or among the manuscripts and things of this nature. Now, this video is going to be rather short because I'm going to let IslamicAwareness.org do most of the talking for me, which I have posted a link in the description section of this video. Now, the thing is that many people have the misunderstanding that Islam does not have a very valuable Quranic textual tradition. And what's interesting is that this person only refers to the Sanya manuscript being the oldest manuscript and two Uthmanic manuscripts. However, I want to know why he didn't mention the vast majority of other manuscripts that do exist of the Quran and things of this nature. In fact, when you look at the website, which I posted a direct link to the Quranic manuscript articles section, it talks about multiple manuscripts that existed from the 1st and 2nd century of the Hijra, and yet he did not mention these other manuscripts. Now, another thing that I want to point out is that he mentions the hadiths, and he mentions the hadiths to talk about the compiling of the Quran, and he says that these are not reliable, and he said that the idea that Muslims purport that the Quran was essentially compiled, and that Uthman destroyed the variant readings solely based on dialect is a fabrication. In other words, he says that Muslims are lying when they actually say, basically, when they talk about those ideas. Now, if that's true, then why is it in their hadiths? Now, this is Sahih Bukhari, volume 6, and it mentions the collection of the Quran. And one thing this person said with regards to the collecting of the Quran under Abu Bakr is that there were people called the Qur'an, and these people would memorize the whole Quran, they would have it completely memorized, and they would teach it to other people verbally. Now, he says that this, as a result of the death of several of the Qur'an, that the information they had in their memory was lost forever. This is the phrase he uses. They were lost. Now, does the Hadith actually mention that? When we go to the Hadith, this is volume 6, chapter 3, the collection of the Quran, Hadith number 4986, is narrated by Zayd bin Thabit. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq sent for me when the people of Yamama had been killed, i.e. a number of the Prophet's companions who fought against Muslimah. I went to him and found Umar bin al-Khattab sitting with him. Abu Bakr then said to me, Umar has come to me and said casualties were heavy among the Qur'an of the Quran, i.e. those who knew the Quran by heart, on the day of the Battle of Yamama, and I am afraid that more heavy casualties may take place among the Qur'an on other battlefields, whereby a large part of the Quran may be lost. Now listen to the terminology there. This person is saying that it may be lost. Not that it was lost, but that it may be lost. Portions of the Quran may be lost. Now, the person continues, thereby I suggest you, Abu Bakr, order the Quran to be collected. Now, at this point, Umar and Abu Bakr have a disagreement. Even Zayd, they talk about should they even collect the Quran. The Prophet did not do this. Should they do it anyway? They finally decide to actually compile it based on the materials, the palm leaf stalks and the rocks, palm leaf stalks and the rocks that they had it written down, and they compiled it into a manuscript format. So, for this person to assert that the parts of the Quran were lost is his own conjecture. It is not backed up by the authentic hadiths, and is not backed up by the Islamic scriptures. Now, continuing on, you have him then mentioning that Uthman burned many other variant readings, and that the idea, as I mentioned earlier, that this was based on linguistics alone is a fabrication by Muslims. This is what the person says. But let's read what let's read what the Hadith says. This is Hadith number 4987, same chapter 3, the collection of the Quran in Sahih Bukhari, volume 6. Narrated by Anas bin Malik. Harifa bin al-Yaman came to Uthman at the time when the people of Sham and the people of Iraq were waging war to conquer Armenia and Adharbijan. Hanifa was afraid of the people of Sham and Iraq, differences in the recitation of the Quran. So he said to Uthman, O chief of the believers, save the nation before they differ about the book of the Quran, as Jews and Christians did before them. So Uthman sent a message to Hafsa, saying, send us the manuscript of the Quran, so that we may compile the Quranic materials in perfect copies and return the manuscripts to you. Hafsa sent it to Uthman. Uthman then ordered Zayd bin Thabit, Abdullah bin al-Zabir, Zayd bin al-As, and Abdurrahman bin Harath bin Hashem to copy the original manuscript perfectly. Uthman said to the three Qurayshi men, in case you disagree with Zayd bin Thabit on any point in the Quran, then write it in the dialect of the Quraysh, as the Quran was revealed in their tongue. They did so, and when they had written many copies, Uthman returned the original manuscript to Hafsa. Uthman sent to every Muslim province one copy of what they had copied, and ordered that all the other Quranic materials, whether written in fragmentary manuscripts or whole copies, be burnt. So, what is the contention here? What is actually being talked about? Why does Uthman point out to the people, to the four scribes, that they should write it in the dialect of the Quraysh, as it was originally revealed? That that's how it should be written. Why is that something that's highlighted in Uthman's talks to the four scribes, if this was not the issue? There is nothing in the hadiths that say that what the people of Iraq or Sham had were additional materials of the Quran. If anything, this directly proves that it was based on dialect alone. The issue is dialect in nature, not the fact that the people of Sham had additional surahs or additional verses, as this person seems to want to allude to. So I hope this answers the question. Again, these are two issues that are very much abused by people who do not understand the hadiths. And what's ironic is that the person actually started reading the hadith that I just quoted, started to read it, but then dismisses the idea that this was actually a reason of dialect, of resuscitation, not of the fact that people had different Qurans. In other words, had totally different manuscripts. It was the idea of the dialect, of the resuscitation, and that is why Uthman had the Quran canonized linguistically, hence why he even points out, if there's any issues, you should write it in the dialect of the Quraysh, in which it was originally revealed, and send those copies out to these provinces and burn the rest. So for this person to say that, right at the time of Uthman there was differences of the Quran, the differences of the Quran plainly are based on resuscitation. There is no evidence that some Qurans had a material that was not originally revealed to the Prophet. I would like to see him use Islamic sources or secular historian sources to actually prove that. Because every manuscript we have from the 1st, 2nd century Hijra, as you'll see in IslamicAwareness.org, all of them, all the material is the same. So for this person to suggest that these issues exist and things of this nature, I would like him to bring forth his evidence instead of just ranting about random hadiths and things of this nature. So thank you for watching. Peace be with you all.